Hey guys, I'm Perry. Today we're going to be going over how to VOD review and what Monk Mental is. If you guys don't know who I am a pro jungler. I've been a pro jungler for the last 3 years. I've been challenger for the last 4. I pinked at rank 2. Okay, I had really good moments. I beat Owner, Faker, Carrier, and Zeus on in one game, in a secret game. I've played against Faker multiple times, and Owner, and all these other world-class pros, and I've taken them down. Here's my last few years on the pro scene. Okay. And the main thing we're going to be looking over today is VOD reviewing, okay? When I played Champs Queue, and I didn't do this for World's Champs Queue, which was a mistake, I'll be honest. I was having too much fun. But Champs Queue here, all these reviews, this is what we're going to talk about. And this is what I'm going to show you guys how to do. We're going to go through a template. We're going to go through why this is so important. So just make sure it's clear. So we're going to talk about why we VOD review, effective ways to VOD review, spreadsheet template, the number of mistakes you're making per rank. Okay, this is like my assessment. I mean, honestly, it could be more or maybe a little less, but just a general idea of an emphasis on how many mistakes you're making. Okay, the Monk Mental, discipline, consistency, blame your teammates, and attitude. It's pretty simple for Monk Mental. The main important thing here is why we VOD review or how to VOD review, and going through that. Okay, so let me give myself a black background here. Let me put my pen real quick. I'm going to give myself a black background, and we're going to take a look at why we VOD review, and essentially also what I could do is I could look at someone's OPGG real quick. So let me look at a recent student's, which was OP.GG. Okay, this guy right here. Okay, so here's a student right here. I'm sure he has no problem, hopefully. But okay, so let's talk about why we VOD review, guys. So, in League, you see your rank at all times. Diamond 1, and your LP, and your win rate. It's very clear, it's very apparent to you. And it can feel very, and I mean very stressful, when you see that rank go down. Okay, when you see your rank, boop, then you start to feel stressed. So, Mr. Logs, I'm not sure how to say it. Okay, he went from Masters to Diamond. Okay, and he's feeling a lot of pressure. He's feeling like, damn, like, oh my god, I'm not finding success. It's going bad. I'm not a good player. Yada yada yada. So imagine you're D1, and you go on a 10-game loss streak. You are now D3. You're gonna feel absolutely miserable. Okay, and you're gonna think you're a bad player. You're like, oh my god, what's going on? My teammates, what? All these things come into play here. Your teammates, but you can blame them. You feel like shit. You are never gonna make it back to Diamond. All these negative thoughts arise. Okay, because in League, every win or loss can represent an LP amount and your rank amount. It feels so much more intimidating. It feels so much more stressful, or positive, and for that matter. If you go on a 10-game win streak. Okay, so let's say we'll go D1, 10-game win streak. And now we're Masters, 100 LP. We can be hitting the highest of our high, our peak. Maybe it's more like 100, a little higher than 100. But we're not centered, because now we're all giddy about, oh my god, we got Masters, 100, 200 LP. Like, yeah, I'm climbing. I'm going to get to Grandmaster now. I'm going to get to Challenger now. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. What's actually happening is you're getting overconfident, and you're losing sight of the big picture. The big picture in League, in any sport, in any traditional sport, and any field that you're trying to get good at, is learning. Expanding your knowledge, and gaining more experience as you continue to learn. So in basketball, for example, and I'm not a great basketball player or anything, but I've been watching some NBA recently, and it looks like these pros, okay, they miss shots, right? And they make a lot of shots, and they do a lot of amazing things, but they miss a lot. They miss their free throws, they miss their three-pointers. Heck, I've even seen them do like really, really weird things. Okay, but because of how many more games they're able to play, because of how many more reps they're able to get in, without feeling this stress right here, it's a lot easier for them to not feel in the gutters all the time, right? Because if you're playing a traditional sport, you're trying to get better and land those shots, and that's all you're trying to do. You're not worried about maintaining your LP or maintaining your rank. Your rank is never represented in like as clearly as this, where it's like if you lost a basketball game all of a sudden like you're down a rank or something. Like it's never represented like that. And even if you were to give yourself a skill level rank, like let's say I'm ranked 300 and I lose a few games, now I'm ranked 700, you feel that pressure by a lot. But like a basketball player, like heck man, if like the best of the best lost all the games in a row, a bunch of games in a row, they're still very good. And nothing's really changed. And that's applicable to this person who's ranked 300 and has lost a lot of games too. So the main point I'm trying to drive here, so you guys understand, is that League is a very hard game to get out of this mindset about caring about your rank. Your rank does not represent how good you are as a player. I've seen a lot of very high elo players that don't deserve that. I've seen a lot of low rank players that don't deserve that rank. At its core, okay, you work hard and you'll climb. Okay? So the reason why you track things, the reason why you need a process for it, is because you'll be able to see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and not attach it to your rank. So my number one advice, aside from obviously VOD reviewing, is try to forget about your rank. It was to the point where I would like instantly queue up again, not look at how much LP I gained or lost. I would just queue and just ignore the rank, because that helps you remember you can get better every single game, even if you're losing 10 games in a row. That's true. Do you want to lose 10 games in a row? No, you're going to feel emotional, absolutely. But you can still gain things. And that's the point. We VOD review to gain things every single game so we're not wasting our damn time. So in this Champs Q split, I think I had... Let's look at this. I'm not sure overall. It looks like on my most played champions, actually, my two most played champions, I got negative win rates. I think this split I had like a 49% win rate. If I were to tally all this up, I had a 49% win rate. Unfortunately, I didn't. Okay, and I gained the most out of the split than I've ever gained before, and I had a negative win rate. Maybe it's like 50% win rate. Okay, let's just leave it at that. Okay, it's because I took all of these notes. Okay, and eventually I started getting lazy. Sure, after the 100 mark, I started getting lazy. Sure. Oh wait, right here. Here's my win loss. 68 wins, 75 losses. So, yeah, negative win rate. Okay? But because of all these notes here, this is what skyrocketed in my gameplay. Okay. We take notes, so I understand every game what I'm working on. Discipline. I'm working on being okay that I'm dead. I'm working on telling my teammates what to do. Communication. Okay? Communicating. I'm giving myself examples. Telling myself trust the process. I'm telling myself stop skipping steps, play the game. Consistency. Focus on my mind, giving the headspace. Don't take hard fights. I'm giving myself guidelines on what I can do to actually improve. If I cared about these 3 losses in a row or these 3 losses in a row, or I think later on it's actually even worse. Yeah, these 4 losses in a row or 5 losses in a row. If I gave in to what all this meant, okay, I would just be a worse player overall, and I wouldn't gain anything. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see the picture as to why we review. Reviewing helps you specifically for League. For other games, it's less important. Okay, for other games, it's less important. Okay, so next thing I want to look at is how we VOD review. So you guys see 2 options. Okay, the obvious option here is where we take notes and everything. Now, what's the other option? So the other option is death reviews. So we have note-taking reviews and we have death reviews. So if I were to just quickly make our screen black real quick. So we have death reviews. So death reviews and then notes. So these death reviews are very easy to apply to every single game. It's not that difficult to do this. But the result is not as good. Notes, on the other hand, always give you something to write about and something to talk about and something to zone in on. I would recommend for anyone to start with death reviews. Death reviews is like the baseline. Okay, so step 1, do death reviews. Step 2, do notes. If you want to go above and beyond, do both of them. Every single game, no exceptions. Okay, I need to make sure you guys could see that on the screen, right? Everything was good. You guys could see that. Okay. So let's take a look at what a death review looks like, because you guys see what notes looks like. Let's take a look at what death reviews look like. So if I were to quickly just use this as an example, I'll just go all the way down here. It'll be the same thing. You can track the day, you can track all this stuff. It's fine. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put like death 1, death number 1, 2, and I will make templates for this later. But essentially I just want to give you guys the general ideas of so Viego. I played a Viego game and I played against not sure who it is. I played against. I'm losing my mind here. Shyvana. Okay. So, also, actually, real quick, this is really important. If you guys don't have something that captures your gameplay from your POV, you need to do that. It's the most efficient way to review. And after, like, maybe a few days of games, you can delete them. Like, that's fine. As long as you have the notes, you can delete them. Because it takes a lot of space. But anyway, okay. So, death number. This is why insights are so OP, because I can find where I died. I died here. How did I die? What did I do? Okay. Let's take a look at this process. So I died at 12:57. I go 30 seconds back to see what I was playing for, why I was playing for this, and does this make sense? Okay. So this is the death review process. Okay, I died here. Why did I die? What's going on? Okay, I'm trying to dive Shyvana. I'm trying to dive Yuumi. I'm trying to make a really aggressive play here. Okay, do I have to do this? No. Is there an easier play? Yes. So the first two questions I ask myself is, do I have to do this? 99% of the time, answer will be no. Okay, and afterwards, I ask myself, is there a better play or a safer play? Okay, and most of the time, it'd be yes. So number one is, do I have to do this? Number two is there a safer / better play? And chances are, there almost always will be. Okay, so simply, I look at this picture and I'm like, okay, I lived, and even back here, I didn't have to try diving. I didn't have to do any of this. I can recall, spend my gold, 1,500 gold. I can go to gates to go to my camps. I can simply farm these camps, and I can play for grubs. Very easy options here. I do not have to dive bot lane. So when I look at this death, I'm like, okay, this death is very pointless. On top of that, when I look at this death, wow, I could have also lived here. I could have just ran away and lived. I chose to fight. So what I would write about here is chose very risky option. Here, let me fix this here. And again, I will have a template for you guys, so don't worry. We're gonna do this together. So risky fights, risky decision making, and then I just put a comma, and I'll just talk more about it. Okay, risky decision making. Decided to continue fighting instead of leaving. Okay, what else happened here? Try diving a very hard dive. Enemy is full HP. Okay, etc., etc., etc. So essentially, I'm talking about all these things here, and then let me wrap this around here. Okay, we'll delete this for now, and then I'll go to the next death, and we look at this, and we go, okay, what's going on here? I died later on in the game. Where did I die? Okay, I found my death here. And I look at this, and I'm wondering, okay, how did I die here? Why did I die here? Go 30 seconds behind. Okay, bot lane's fighting. What am I playing for? Actually, here's another good question. You ask yourself, what am I playing for? 30 seconds before, you need to ask yourself, what am I playing for? That's more important than anything here. Okay, so what am I playing for here? And it's like, okay, right here, I have 800 gold. I'm playing for a camp. I'm playing for dragon. It's soul. It's soul win con here. So I have soul to play for. My pike is recalling. I see Jhin die and I run at this. Is this a good fight to run to? Probably not. Is it safe? Do I have to do this? Absolutely not. Okay, and is it safe? Nope, it's very risky. Is there a better play? Yeah, I can just do my camps, farm the wave, and then look for the dragon. Okay, so then when I look at this fight, okay, this fight is bad. Now let's take a look at how I can play this better. Okay, I kill this Zeri. Okay, and I have target champions on only. So when I try and collect the Zeri here, I'm clicking into nothing. On top of that, after I'm escaped, I choose to Q and try and fight when I should simply ult way earlier, and therefore I die. Okay, so if I would write down the notes again, it'd be okay too. Easy play to just do Drake. Don't need to fight, even if our teammate is dead. Desperation, trying to make the game, trying to salvage Jin's ally's death. Okay, and on top of that, again, chose to overstay instead of run. We are too aggressive. So now, based on looking at these two plays by itself, I can actually come to the conclusion that I am playing way, way, way too aggressive and way too greedily. 2 times now, I have made risky decisions, okay, obviously, and then I've decided to fight instead of leave 2 times. Obviously, this game, I only had 2 deaths, so it's less to look at, but you'll see a pattern in how you're playing and why you're playing. And now, is this easy for everyone to do when you review your games? Absolutely not. It's going to be hard. But it's the principle. The only reason why I'm good enough at this is because I've done this year after year after year, game after game after game. As you do it, you'll find still the same patterns, but and it maybe it's like maybe it take a longer time, maybe it'll be harder, but that's fine. Over time, you get good. It's also a skill you want to learn. The same way Monk Mental is a skill you want to learn. This is the way you want to learn. Okay, this is death reviewing, and I personally think it's the easiest way to start because. Okay, I can literally just click here and be like, okay, let's say I'm in queue. I click here real quick. Oh shit, why did I die? Oh shit, what am I doing? Oh, got you. Write down 1 sentence. Got it. Awesome. Okay, I died here. Why did I die? What's going on? Okay, write 1 sentence. Done. Takes you 2 minutes every single game. Okay, and then if you have multiple, you have 5, 6, 7 deaths. Like, try and get them all. Just get 1 sentence in, 1 word in. It doesn't matter. It's about the rep. It's about the mindset. Okay, if you have like 10 plus deaths, I don't got anything to say for you. If you're dying more than 10 times in a game, your mental is like, you've lost your mind. Okay, so don't die that much. You can review all of those. If you're really a trooper, review all those. I know from my experience, I was sort of lazy at times, and I didn't review all of those games where I died like 15 times and I'm having a really shit game. That's fine. That happens. Don't worry about that. But the principle is like, if I die 5, 6, 7 times, I'm reviewing all of those. If I die 2 times, if I die 1 time, and okay, let's say you don't die any time, that's fine. What you can look at is transition to notes. So if you find yourself not dying that much, you can just take notes instead. You have another option. Okay, let's look at our other option here, and I have a template for us, a beautiful template for us. So let's modify this and we can do this together. Okay, the date. Is it that important? No, but it helps me track how many games I'm playing every day. The champion, Viego. Okay, the versus champion, we're playing against Shyvana. With results, I'll just say W. I'm not sure. I'm still deciding if this is useful or not. But just because I'm used to do it, I'd say it's still fine to do it. Score. What you can do is what I did before was I would use the OPGG and I would copy and paste the scoreline, for example, and then it would just like plop in there like that. But we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna write it down. So I think my scoreline was could just look here. It was 12-13. Boom. That's my scoreline. Awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to write down, again, 1 to 2, 3 sentences about what's going on in this game, okay? And you can write as much as you want. The point is you want to get a lot of information down here, okay? You want to get a lot here. Also, thank you for the raid, Steve Little English. Appreciate that. So we want to look at a few notes here that made the game maybe a little more difficult than it needed to be. Okay, so let's take a look at what I could have done better from the early game. So you always start with the early game with any sort of notes if you're a jungler. Okay, what can you do in the early game that could be better here? So I chose to get a kill. Awesome. I did my camps. Awesome. So what you're looking for when you're reviewing your own games is every play you make, every time you're straying away from camps, is it something that's worth it? So for example, I'm walking towards mid lane here, and I have expended an extra 5, 6, 7 seconds. Is that worth it? Am I getting something here? So I would write here that be careful with spending time trying to save teammates. Okay, awesome, done. Okay, I recall here because I want to make it to my first camp respawn. So that's a good thing. And if I want to do positive affirmations, I say, good tempo play. Good tempo play. Continue working on resetting to first camp. Awesome. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap all of these. Give me a second here. Okay. So I'll give myself some positive affirmations here. I do Krugs. I do Raptors. Okay. I do Wolves. I do Gromp. Okay. And now I'm here and I'm playing this fight here. So all this so far is a pretty clean game. So honestly, I chose a clean game, which is a little bit harder to review. If you have clean early games, that's fine. So what I could ask myself here is nothing that happens here. It's right around here, so I don't get the grubs. So I asked myself, okay, is it worth getting the grubs? Is it not worth getting the grubs? I know it's not worth getting the grubs. I see a lot of people would go and take the grubs, and then say they fight the grubs. Is that really worth it? Is that really? It's pretty much you need to always ask yourself: is what I'm doing worth it? What are my other options? Are my other options better? So, what you're reviewing for, and I'm kind of straying off the main point here. What you're reviewing for is consistency and discipline in your gameplay. And the reason why I emphasize farming every game and getting on your camps, not only does a Gurn do it, and he's fucking very high rank always, but it's simply the best way to consistently track your progress. So in a game where I dropped camps, let's say actually this game is a perfect example actually, where I skipped my Wolves, Blue, and Grom. Is this play actually worth it? Because what I'm sacrificing is tempo here, and my efficiency on my clear. Is this gank actually worth it? Did I get something? Is it risky? Am I losing a lot here? I made this play. Karma flashed. I flashed. Tilly had no flash. Is that play worth it? 2 flashes for a kill? Maybe not. You know, I would get the same amount of gold simply clearing all this, and I would save my flash, and I can kill her later. So that's what I'm evaluating at all points of the time in the early game. I have a structured way of playing. If I don't follow these rules, what am I doing wrong? So I guess the first step, before we continue looking at these VOD reviews, is what are we working on? What rules are there? Okay, so if I want my first rule to be on my camp, respawns every time they are up, and the other one is always prioritize camps over ganks / plays, and the last one would be like work on getting to my objective on spawn / prioritize that over everything. If these are my working points, then what I'm reviewing for is specifically these working points. Let's say the point I'm trying to work on is, am I playing fights well? Or like, am I landing all my W's in fights? Then what you would do is you would spend 2-3 minutes looking at this fight. Okay, did I land my W? Okay, let's see. Okay, nice, I landed my W. Awesome. Then you look at this fight. Okay, did I land my W? Let's see. Awesome, I landed my W. Okay, let's look at this fight. Okay, did I land my W? Okay, awesome. This fight, I died. Did I land my W? I did. Awesome. Oh, wait, but over here, I fought over here. Did I land my W? No, I let my W run out. Okay, what's going on? Now I have something to review. Now I have something to look at. Now I have something to think about. Okay, so actually the first step, and I should have said this earlier, the first step is you need to know what you're working on. Okay, and everyone should have a general idea. If you use your brain, you'll know what you're trying to review. You'll know what you're trying to look for. You'll know what you're trying to get better at. And if you don't, and you struggle with it, well, there's always a few things you can work on. Okay, getting better at fights, getting better at farming, knowing when to farm or gank. Like there's fog of war, there's jungle tracking, there's a lot of things. Just choose something. Okay, but don't you notice here how I put this as a little dash. I limit myself at all times, and you want to limit yourself at all times, to around like 3 things. So the difference here was I had a lot of things here that I'm working on. Okay, and this actually made the process very difficult. So what I would recommend, if you like writing things down, which you should, it's very helpful to play game. Find another document and talk about all of the concepts in the game. Okay, all of them, whatever it is, and then just write it. Just write your heart out. This really helped me see what's going on. You know, I'm literally like just hyping myself up. You got this, Perry. Like, look at you, literally playing with just literally playing with these guys. Whatever. Trust yourself. Whatever's going on. All this shit. You need to write out what's going on in your brain, because League is so complex. But ultimately, back to the review, 3 things at a time. That's it. 3 things at a time. And when you think you're done with step 1, you need to continuously. Sorry. Let me be clear. You will never be done with something you're working on for the entire existence of your entire career, even if you're a challenger or a pro player. It's all about refining things to a T at all points of time. You always are going to be refining and tweaking and refining and tweaking and refining and tweaking. Okay. So, back to what we're looking at. I review the early game and I review. Okay, awesome. So some of you guys might have timers in the game where you didn't get dragon at 5 minutes, or 6 minutes. You didn't get your clear off. You died a few more times. Okay, what's going on? Okay, you need to figure all this out. Okay, and if I were to give you guys a structured ideas on what to review, okay, for everyone to review, okay. 1, am I on my camps on spawn? If not, why? 2, am I prioritizing the objective over kills and invades? If not, why? 3, am I on the dragon at 5:30 or around then? If not, why? The last thing is 4. Have I identified in every game? Was I identifying strongest ally and working around them? If not, why? Every game, everyone can do this. It's a universal thing. I'm on the dragon as well. Actually, I'm on the dragon at 5:30, around then, or on Herald at 14. If not, why? Okay, so that's something everyone can use universally. You don't need to be high elo, low elo. It doesn't matter. This applies to everyone. Okay, holding tab, checking if your teammates are strong. Okay, being on the dragon on spawn, being on a herald on spawn. If not, why? What's going on? What are you playing for? Are you prioritizing objectives over kills and invades? If not, why? Are you on your camps on spawn? Again, if not, why? Okay, so this is what we will be. I will give you guys, and to make it a little easier, I am looking to delete this. Pull this out here. Make it like this. Okay, so let me just refine this for you guys, and this will be in the description. This will be in the Discord as well. I'll post it all. Working on. I'll just delete all this. It's fine. It's irrelevant. If you guys want to add more, you guys can add more, but this is all you guys really need. So your champion, your score, the versus champion, your score, and the result, and then you take notes. And then death reviews. What we can do is I'll duplicate this, and then I will give you guys a death reviews, and then a notes. Okay, so death reviews is a little bit different. What it takes with death reviews is simply follow the same concepts, but essentially the difference here is we're gonna write it out like this. We're going to do something like this. Give me a second. And I'm sure some of you guys can refine this and make it better. And then so for this will be an example. Game 2, XXXXL, and then it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Game 3, and then XXXXX. So this is the best method I've gotten so far. But yeah, I'm sure maybe someone can figure out a better way to do this. If you can, please let me know. I'm always willing to improve what we've got going here. But that way you can just go like this. I suck at this game. Oh, let me fix that actually. Let's get rid of dates here, huh? Or let's go one column to the left. Okay. Now you can go I suck at league or whatever. Okay. Let me make this in the left side and then make it go that way. So you can go like this. So I died because I suck. I am amazing at league. But my teammates suck. Yada 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 yada. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, and everything should be good. Let me just double check everything is good. Okay, let me double check everything is good. Okay, everything looks good here. So review portion. Okay, and then review. So death review. And then I'll put that here actually. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, and then let me fix the text here because I don't like the color. All right, looks good. And then we're gonna go here. So you have all this. You have the notes section here. If I go really long, so I'm just gonna go with a lot of text here. Will it go and wrap around? Yes, it will. Awesome. Okay. Last thing I want to do for us. Actually, honestly, all this is good. All of it, I'm happy with. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with giving you guys this template here. And again, what you guys want to work on every game is simply this every single game. So yeah, I'll share this here. Give me a second. I'll share this here with everyone, and then I'll provide that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's next. What's next for everyone to do. Anyone with a link, I'll copy it. Anyone with a link can use this. And then I'll put it in the stream, and then I'll put it in the description box below. Everyone can have access to this now. Just make a copy of it. Obviously, if you guys want to refine it, you can. And maybe down the road, some people can give you suggestions on how to make it better. But yeah, that's it. Let's move on to the next thing, because we spent a good bit. We already spent a good bit of time on that. So the next thing is the number of mistakes you're making per rank. So again, back to the first point of why we VOD review, what's going on, the idea behind it. We really need to think about how many mistakes you're making per rank. So just for a general idea, a challenger player, I would say, still makes around like 500 mistakes a game. A lot. There's still a lot going on. And if you look at my game, I'm a challenger level player. I died 2 times. Those are mistakes. I made a lot of actual mistakes within those deaths. I already counted like 10 things that I did wrong within those 2 deaths. And look at the rest part of my game, there's going to be a lot more. If I start looking at my clicks, if I start looking at everything, I will total to around 500 on average. A pro player like Faker, he still makes mistakes. He's still fucking things up, but he's making a lot less. Maybe Faker's making around like 50 to 100 mistakes, 150. These pro players, they still make mistakes, but it's a lot less. An iron player makes anywhere from like 5,000 to like 10,000 mistakes a game. Bronze player, 4,500 to like 9,000. Silver player, 4,000 to 8,000. Gold player, 3,500. Plat, 3,000. Emerald, 2,500. Diamond, 2,000. Masters, 1,500. GM, 1,000. Challenger, 500. So every single player is making thousands of mistakes. Okay? And what makes you and brings you to the next level is you making less mistakes than the people in your rank. So reviewing will help you pinpoint the mistakes you're making and accurately understand what you can be doing better around all of these mistakes. Okay? So to recap, we have why we VOD review. It's the best way to track things, best way to track progress, and allows us to trust the process and what we are doing. Okay? 2 weeks of VOD review. So we have depth reviews and note reviews. Start with depth reviews. Then transition into note reviews, or do what's best for you. Last thing is do both if you're a superstar. Okay, we went through the spreadsheet template. You guys will have the link to that. The number of mistakes you're making is around 5,000 for iron, 500 for challenger. Okay, so minus 500 per minus 500. You get the idea. So in between, like this is the best way I could put it. Without writing a shit ton here. All right, that's why we VOD review, and that's how to VOD review. That's what you can do. If you guys have specific questions about VOD reviewing, we will take a look in the Q&A, because I think you guys will probably have some more things to talk about. But this is just generally speaking what I've done, what you can do. And again, if you want to look at the notes I took in my losses, or my wins and losses. Stopping 3 camp invading, lose 1v1 versus in, good discipline after in, awesome. We know Jung works better than anyone. Don't ask choices. Trust yourself. So I doubted myself here. Good discipline after red buff invade. Don't need to defend red. He will lose something. So I fucking lost the defending red buff. Yada 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 yada. Don't play volley with land teammate. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, that's why I don't want to share this with you guys, because like I was writing some fucked up shit here too. Show when plays go wrong. Always the next leg. Calm down, calm down. Stop over scanning. They aren't trying to mind game that hard. Push your comms further, etc., etc., etc. Whatever. Okay, so every game you can write a lot of things. Okay. Let's take a look at what monk mental looks like and what you guys are lacking when it comes to having monk mental. So I'll use someone on the leaderboard for this. We can look at Surdy's or Shaden's account together. So someone like Surdy, okay, he is capable of getting 65% win rate, 140 games, to rank 1. How is this possible? How is he pulling off these scores, these stat lines, and all this? How is this human? Okay, one thing to notice is not a single one of his champions have 7 CS or less per minute. Cannon, okay. Okay, he has the first step, which is consistency in how he farms. Then you notice that his death average is almost less than 5 for every single champion. And then you notice another thing, that in the losses he's experienced, most of the time, he's still, okay, some of these games are hard, but he's still trying and he's still performing. In essence, these games that are hard right here, he's still doing a lot to try and win and try and succeed. A lot of people throw in the towel. So again, we can look at Shaden's game. Shaden recently just played a game right now, 4-3-0. He's still trying his absolute hardest no matter what here. 7-7-4, 9-5-4, 31-7-8. What happened here? Right? Crazy stuff. The point is, he's still trying his absolute hardest to win no matter what. It takes discipline to be able to look at your teammates and be like, damn, I have a 5'11 teammate, 2-7 mid laner, 5'11, 5'10, and I still want to win the game. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of mental energy. But to be able to get rank 1, rank 2, and this high rank, Surdy does it. Okay, look at this game. 3-8, 4-7, 0-7, 4-9, and he's still doing his absolute best to try and carry and win these games. It doesn't matter how bad his teammates, Surdy's teammates or Shaden's teammates are inting them, they're trying their absolute hardest. So a lot of you guys, and I mean a lot of you guys, let this affect you. You cannot let these teammates get into your head. You need to play your best at all points. And that's another thing, back to Shaden's account, CS average is around 7 or higher on every single champion. Again, 6.9, 6.7, it's a little lower. That's fine. It's still very, very high. Right? A lot of you guys, when you look at your stats, 5 CS per minute. Tony Top, you Kino Cap. Let's take a look. 7 CS per minute, 7 CS per minute, 7 CS per minute, 7 CS per minute. You Kino Cap. 8, 7, 8, 7, 6.2. Okay, it's Rek'Sai, sure. Okay, Lee Sin, okay, it's a little less sure. There's a reason why these win rates though are lower than the rest. Okay, it's consistency that matters here. Okay, I can go to almost every single player here, and they will have around 7 CS average or higher. Okay, this guy on his main champion, his Echo champion, 7 CS. This guy, Dokla, 7 CS, 7 CS, 7 CS, 8 CS, 8 CS. Okay, Shogo, 10 CS per minute. Okay, Shogo's really showing us how far you can push the limits to ADC. This is crazy. This is a very high CS per minute on average out of 37 games. That's impressive as hell. Anyway, so monk mental, what that entails is being able to understand that these games will be hard and will suck and fuck my teammates, but I'm still going to do my absolute best, discipline myself, and train myself to learn what it takes to win these lost games. Some people throw in the towel when they see their top laner is 0-10, and they tell me, yeah man, I lost the game because my top laner inted me. Sure, it's good that you're aware of that, but then I look at your score, and you're also like 0-5, and I'm just like, okay. So, that's kind of weird. And I promise you, I've talked to Surdy. In games like this where he's 0-5 and his teammates are doing okay or whatever, like he'll take responsibility. Or this game where he's 14-6-5 or 6-10-6, he will take responsibility. along with acknowledging that, hey, his teammates are a problem. Like, Armeo had a really bad game too. Along with acknowledging that, hey, these things happen, what he's doing is he's taking accountability for his mistakes and for his problems. And it takes a lot of discipline and respect for yourself and for your process to do that. And that's why we VOD review, because every game if you VOD review, it doesn't matter which teammate's inting you, which teammate's playing bad, or how bad you're playing, you're VOD reviewing to get better. So you can have the worst game in your life, like Armeo pulling off these scores, not cool, man, not cool. But it's okay, like, and he shouldn't feel bad, and like oh, what the it's making arena. And it's chill, like a 2-12-6, what's going on? What's Armeo doing? Okay, but ultimately, if he reviews these games, he trusts the process, he can figure out what's going on, he probably knows what's going wrong, but it's like, okay, it happens to everyone. What you need to do is you need to zone in on what you can do to discipline yourself and learn this skill. It's a challenge level skill. We're looking at the top players. They all have these specific things. And number one, it's consistency. Again, we look at their CS per minute on average. Let's look at Armeo's as well. Armeo's, okay, as you can see, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6 a little bit lower, 6 a little bit lower, sure. Champions that farm a little bit less, okay? All of these guys have the consistent thing of farming efficiently. Different roles too. Top laners, junglers, ADCs, I'm sure if we looked at mid laners and support's a little different, but mid laners, they will have a really, really high farm. Okay, and then discipline. You need to learn this skill. It's a skill. Okay, the next thing I want us to look at is blaming your teammates. Okay, a lot of people walk around and they look at these games and they're like, oh man, Tony top 0-4. Oh man, I got shit in ADC. Oh, this game is so bad. And then they'll start inting too, and they'll go 0-10, and they'll throw the game. Okay, but as you can see here, Armeo's still doing his best. He got ace. He has a good scoreline, and he's good farm. Okay, farm. He's still doing absolutely everything he can to try and win this game. And when he walks out of this game, instead of looking at it like, damn, my top laner sucked, damn, my support sucked, damn, everyone sucked, what he should do is say, hey man, this game was hard, but what could I have done better? That's it. He died 2 times, so what did he die? Were those 2 bad fights? Well, who was found on the enemy team? Could he have ganked top lane? Could he have ganked ball lane? Could he have done something better? What can he do better? So you need to play League with the intention of never blaming your teammates and always trying to do everything you can better. It is completely reasonable to acknowledge how bad Tony Top is playing and how bad, let's say, it's not a jungle game. Let's say how bad Mr. whatever is playing 1-6-6. It's very reasonable to acknowledge what's going on here. But what you need to do in the next step and the most important step is figure out what you can do better. Every game you could do at least 3 things better. It's not just 1. It's like 3 things better every game. You should find at least 3 things better that you could do every single game, win or loss. That's how you keep yourself progressing. That's how you keep winning. So, don't blame your teammates. Don't worry about it. Acknowledge it, sure. Work on getting yourself better. Okay? On top of that, a win-loss doesn't define anything. Okay, Armeo has been playing the game for a long time, right? All these guys have been playing the game for a long time. Do you think that they lose their mind over a game where it's like, okay, wow, I'm 0-4 this game. Wow, I'm the worst player. Oh, I'm 0-3 this game. Oh, I'm the worst player. Or I'm 4-8 and I lost. Oh my god, like this is terrible. Or, oh, I'm 7-2-3, 5-4-2. I'm on a 3-win streak. Do you think at any of those facts, the win or loss, change how they're playing, change what they're going to do the next game, change the way they view the world and League of Legends in general? It's like, no. And you'll understand this as you get higher rank and as you play lots and lots of games. But the more you worry about win-loss, the harder it is for you to actually focus in on improving yourself. A win-loss does not define who you are. It doesn't define anything. It doesn't define if you're an actual good player or not. What defines if you're actually a good player or not is if you can get the fuck back up and try and win the next game. Or not try and win. Not trying to win. Get the fuck back up and try and improve the next game. Try and improve in this game you just played. And when the score, and let's say you're playing a game that scores 3-20. Okay, what makes it a win or a loss is if you sit there and you train yourself and discipline yourself and learn what it takes to try and come back in this game, even if there's a 1% chance. Because that's what it takes. Okay, some people say throw in the towel and just FF. Like, don't hostage me. No, train yourself. Train your mental. Get good at that. Get good at accepting that these games will happen. You're not gonna have one game in the rest of your life where it's 3-20. No, you're gonna have hundreds. And if every single time you think it's a 1% chance of winning, you're just gonna FF, well, you're gonna be stuck. You're not gonna make any progress. You're not gonna improve. The next step in improvement of your compared to your, like, that's not just your actual gameplay, is improving your mind. Your willingness to actually be okay with suffering in a sense. It sounds kind of extreme, but I'm serious. Like, I trained myself by playing Trundle first pick every game, and the enemy team would pick like Brand and Karthus and just full clear junglers like Lilia. And I would go more CS than the enemy jungler. And I would suffer because like it wasn't easy, it wasn't pretty. And sometimes I lost. But I'm disciplining myself. Anyway, a win-loss does not define anything. Work on improving. You win the game when you've played to your absolute fullest potential and you've tried to learn something. That's a win. Okay. The last thing we're going to look at before we get into questions is going to be attitude. Okay, so all this goes together. But attitude. Not going to talk too long about it, but mistakes will happen. You can't get in your own head. You can't think you're the worst player. So there's a balance. Okay, so essentially, if you blame yourself, what's going to happen is, I don't know a way to visualize it, but what's going to happen is, you are going to start freaking out about all things you're doing wrong and all things that are bad and why you're stuck. And that's going to get you stuck as well. So there's a balance here. You can't just blame yourself for every single loss, but what you can do is you can work on things you can do to progress your gameplay and get better. If you blame yourself and get in your own head and start saying you're bad and this and that, you'll get stuck as well. So again, it's a balance. You don't want to blame your teammates, but you don't want to blame yourself. You don't blame anyone. Remove blame. Okay? And you want to acknowledge your teammates are making mistakes. You want to acknowledge you're making mistakes. But because you can't change your teammates, just try and fix your mistakes and get better. And again, let's say you're an Emerald player. You're making around, like 2,500 mistakes or something. You want to worry about trying to get better at all these mistakes and make it 2,400, 2,300, 2,200, 2,100. And then eventually, you're going to be making the same amount of mistakes as a Diamond player, and you're going to naturally just rank up. Okay, but mistakes will happen, and you cannot get in your own head about this. Okay. The last thing with attitude is, and this goes back to a win-loss doesn't define anything, but you cannot control the outcome of every game. You can influence it, you can positively affect it, but you can never control the outcome of a game. These people who have high win rates, they're not worried about controlling the outcome of the game. What they're worried about is trying to do everything in their power to influence what's going on. And what that means is in the game, they're not FFing. They're not making their CS shit. They're not dying that much. They're doing applicable things in every single game to make something possible, to influence it. And you can see how on the highest rank, literally the highest win rate, 65%. 72 over here. So Zeko's got a 70% win rate. Okay? No, 76 right here. Yozu. Okay? At the highest level, people are still losing more than 25% of their games. 73%. Okay, not even Faker. If we found Faker's account, I don't know. If we found Faker's account, not even him would have a 100% win rate. So you can't control the outcome of the game. And if Faker could, I'm sure he would. He's the best. But if not even he can, or the best people in our region, then you shouldn't expect yourself to be able to do that either. But you do want to get a good win rate. You do want to win a lot of games. And the way you do that is focusing on what you can do to actually influence the outcome of the game. Which means you need to get specific here. Which means you need to get into like, oh, I should one trick every game. Or, oh, I should focus on X, Y, and Z. Whatever it is. And you can see here, one trick. Okay, majority of the games. Maybe 2, maybe 3 champions most. Or Mayo. Mayo's got like 3 or 4. Okay, sure. Shaden. 1, 2, 3. Like 1, 2, 3 champs. Some of this, some of that, but it's one trick in Kindred, man. Tony top, 2 champions, 3 champions. That's it. Yukino cap. Again, always one of these players have the most amount of games on one of their champions. Echo, obviously this guy's a complete one trick, which is amazing. Even Dokla. Look at this, even Dokla. He's playing Varus and Camille. And lastly, this guy, Shogo. Solution. Every single high-elo player right now has a main champion, and they play majority of the games on that. And that's the best way to influence the outcome of a game, is you do your best by playing your best champion, and just playing the best game you can possibly can. Okay, so to reiterate, or to recap, so discipline plus consistency. Okay, so what every player is mastered. RCS plus good mental. Blame your teammates. So focus on what you can do to improve, not what they can do. You can't impact them. The win-loss doesn't matter. Focus on the growth. Last thing is, you can't control the outcome. Focus on controlling your decision making to influence the outcome. Not control it, but influence it. Okay, the last thing is, mistakes happen. Don't get in your own head. And before we go into questions here, so good attitude and, good mental. But what about players like Shin and Tarzan? And how these players are like, they're kind of toxic sometimes. They're kind of like, damn, my teammates are so shit. Like, oh my god, they fucking suck. So how are they so good? If I'm preaching, oh my god, you need to have good attitude to get this high rank. How are they doing it? There's 2 things. Number 1, they have been challenger for literally almost a decade now. Okay, so when they probably first climbed, they didn't need to be this toxic, or they weren't this toxic. I'd assume. They were working on trying to get good enough to climb. Okay, so they've been here for a long time, and they're not you. Okay? And on top of that, they have actually adapted in their own way to the mindset of the same thing we're going at, but in their own way. When they vent, they let it out, like TF Blade included, they let it out. They're still playing a good game. You'll notice how even when they fucking rage at their teammates, blame them, they're still actually focusing on what they can do to impact the game. They're still actually focusing on how they can win the game and influence it. It's like funny because they're doing the same thing. They're just manifesting their anger into the same thing. What we're doing is we're trying to control emotions, because most people can't control emotions. Okay, and that's fine. But and it's not something that I want to I don't think anyone, realistically, no one controls emotions. Like, emotions happen to you. It's what you do when emotions affect you. What do you do after? Okay, and what Shaden and Tarzan and TF Blade do is they sort of use that as energy, use that as fuel to play a better game themselves. I feel like most people aren't like that. Okay, so what we want to do is when something emotional happens, we want to control ourselves as best we can. We want to wake up and get into reality and, just be disciplined. All right. That's going to be it for what we're talking about today. If you guys have any questions, now is the chance. You can raise your hand. You can type as well. But yeah. Let's take a look. Okay. Welcome. Yo.
So I just wanted to ask, with VOD reviewing specifically, I feel like you brought up a lot of finding mistakes of plays you tried to make, but how do you find things that you miss or opportunities you didn't see?
Opportunities you didn't see. Okay. Well, the problem with that is you won't know, you don't know what you don't know until you experience it, right? So if you don't see it, you're never gonna see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you don't know how to do multiplication, like you can't just look for it. You can look at how you can do simple addition better. And over time, maybe someone will teach you, or over time, maybe you'll naturally learn it. But you can't find something that you don't know. It's not possible. So when I was working on these things the last however many years, like I always worked on what I knew, and I always tried getting better at what I knew. So efficiently farming, like I worried so much about making sure I'm not losing 3, 4, 5 seconds per camp. So I worked on that. I'm trying to track the enemy jungler as fast as I can, trying to hold tab, check items, all these things I do know what to do. Get good at those. Don't worry about the things you don't know. No one's gonna know. Like it's too hard.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. And just to make it make it more sense. Like you will learn these new things, these new concepts, after you get a good baseline, because you can start seeing the game differently. But before you get that baseline, that fundamental core, it's actually really hard to learn new things because every game is flippy. So when you review, and actually I should have said this earlier. Okay, sucks it's gonna be at the end of the video, towards the end. When you review, your goal is to be consistent. That's it. Your goal is to be consistent. That's what you're reviewing for, consistency.
Hey, how's it going? You can hear me, right?
Yep, can hear you good.
All right. Sorry, boss. So I'm a Shaco OTP, right?
Yeah.
And what do you call it? Is it cool if you compare like what the heck does Chase do differently than me? What do I do differently? Like, I used to follow a guy called Jokebox, right? He was like EU West rank 1 Shaco at some point, challenger.
Yeah.
And he went only AD Shaco. And you know Shaco, like he's a cheese champion. If he doesn't get a snowball lead ASAP, he just like he's not like fucking Rengar or anything like that, you know? Or some shit like that. Like his damage is like mediocre.
Sure.
But I only go AD Shaco when I want to like get to challenger like that. Even though it sounds like crazy.
I mean,
Like, do I still follow the plan where it's like I keep farming consistently?
so with niche champions like Shaco, and there's also like other champions like Lee Sin, Pantheon. I don't know. There's a few junglers. So they follow different rules. Like obviously this guy, if you look at my screen, this guy has 5.6 CS per minute average.
Right.
This guy plays at Shaco support, so that doesn't even count.
Oh.
Oh, he plays at jungle too. No,
Yeah.
this guy's also. Wait, that's the same guy. Yeah, that guy plays at support. This guy and this guy and this guy. Let's take a look. See, this guy farms, right? So this guy farms less. This guy farms. So it's like you can still get 7 CS per minute, and obviously this has a very high rank, Grandmaster rank, etc.
Right.
It really is just up to you and how you want to play. Because if you want to perfect the ganking style of Shaco, you can. And they're again really good players who can just know how to gank. They just know their gank timers, and they know how to like 3 camp as fast as you can to gank. If you want to get really good at farming,
Right.
learn farming.
Have you seen how like the Chase plays or something like that?
I have not. No.
Yeah, but I'm like, do you think there's like hope though, right? Like, I'm trying to get diamond to split. I'm like platinum right now. I'm not gonna lie. It's at least diamond 4, you know?
Yeah, and then just commit to a style and don't worry about this Shaco or that Shaco or this Shaco. Just work on.
Right. I was just trying to adapt the Agorian playstyle where he just farms all the time.
Yeah.
Just like field clears, full clears, full clears.
Yeah, I'd imagine you can do the
Yeah.
same thing on Shaco too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I'll try to use that. Appreciate it.
All right, Matt.
Hello,
What's up?
do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, because I'm from like Seoul 2, I
Yeah.
think you coach there, right?
Yeah.
That like basically everyone there just preaches basically that the most efficient way to improve is to like only play 3 games and then take like an hour-long break, right?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you like if you agree with that, or if like when you climbed you just played like more games than 3.
Okay. So 3 games and then break 1 hour. So I'd say that this principle, the 3-game principle, is very relevant, but not in the way where it's like 3 games into break. I don't like breaking personally, and I think actually, bro, let's step back for a second. You need to figure out what works for you. Licorice, when he was in LCS and whatnot, he did not play much solo queue during his season. Okay? Some players just don't play much solo queue during the season. Some players play a shit ton during the season. Some players don't play like 1 or 2 games a day, and then that's okay. Or some people don't play at all. Okay? It really depends on who you are as a person. You can't hold yourself to these Korean standards, playing 15 games a day, or to Salty standards with 3 games and 1 hour break. You need to find what works for you, ultimately. This is just advice that they give. The advice I give is play a best of 3, not 3 games. So this is my advice. Best of 3. Okay? So actually warm up 1 game into best of 3 into Smurf for the rest of the day. So this is best of 3 on the main. So warm up game on the Smurf or wherever. Best of 3 on the main. Okay, get the best of 3 in. So that means if you win 2 games, you're done. If you lose 2 games, you're done. If you go 2-1, you're done. Whatever, it's an actual best of 3. And then you go Smurf. And this Smurf shouldn't be anywhere lower than like 1 or 2 divisions from your main. If your Smurf is 1 or 2 divisions lower than your main, that means you should worry about your Smurf before your main. Because your Smurf should always be able to catch up to your main rank. So let's say what rank are you right now?
Diamond.
Yeah, let's say you're diamond. Okay, your Smurf should always be able to catch up to your main rank, which is diamond. And if your Smurf is stuck, then there's a problem. It means like your main rank is like a little bit weird. Like it's a little bit weird. If you're a diamond player, you can't get your Smurf to diamond. Then it's a little weird. Okay, because if you can do that, you can get the reps in, and you know you're a diamond player, and you can push forward to masters. If you can't get your Smurf to diamond, then there's an issue. This is the method I used. Warm up game, best of 3, Smurf, to climb to challenger for the second time. When I climbed to challenger for the first time, I played 15 games a day, and I played in the AMs. I played in the when I got home from school, and it just did not matter to me. I just played League. So this was like an optimized method I used. When I first started climbing, I just played 15 games a day. That's it.
Right.
Maybe like 10 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So find what works for you, you know?
Alright, thanks.
Awesome, man. Good luck with your climb.
So I had a question about like, one of the VOD reviews. Like, how long do you think we should like spend reviewing a game? Like, do you have like a frame set, or it just depends on?
Yeah. So when I review, I would just review in between queue. So the queue time at
Okay.
Champ Select is like 5 to 10 minutes. And that's it. Some games, like I'm walking out of base and I'm still fucking finishing my review, and then I'm just
Okay,
done.
okay.
The moment my game
Alright.
starts, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't like spending like dedicated time. Like, oh, I'm not sitting in a queue. I'm not doing something. Like, I always like doing something. That's like me personally. If you really want to spend dedicated time, like again, 10 minutes, I'd call it. Just 10 minutes, good review. Don't stress it. 5 minutes is solid. 10 is overdoing it. 10 plus is overdoing it.
Okay.
Otherwise, just do
Alright.
it in queue. Like that's the best place to do it.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. So we got a question here. When you were climbing, what helped you the most to go from a master to challenger? Okay, so what helped me to go from M rank to C rank? So first we gotta go M to GM to C. Okay. So to get to Grandmaster, what helped me most was, so I was Masters. And what happened was I went from D4 to Masters very quickly with a 60% win rate. Okay, I went from D4 to Masters with a 60% win rate. And what happened here, and I'll make this a black screen real quick so it's easiest for us to read. So I went from D4 to Masters again, 60% win rate. And then I was stuck Masters. What happened is I go to Masters to D1, and then D1 to Masters, and then back and forth. And I was stuck. And I was miserable. 150 games. Misery. So I scratched this off because I didn't want to do this. And I went and played on a Smurf. And it was very, very low rank. It was like all the way in the depths of like gold. And I climbed from gold all the way up to Grandmasters with a 68% win rate. So what really impacted this journey is right here I feel stuck. And I'm seeing no progress. And as a human, no human likes that. No one likes being stuck. Okay, because it's stuck in this time loop. So when I ranked up from gold to platinum to diamond, because there was no emerald at the time, to masters, this momentum every single time drove me to push master to grandmasters. And while I played this 100 games here between gold, platinum to diamond, I disciplined myself, not disciplined myself, but I sort of refined. Okay, I refined all of the things I learned that I wasn't really processing here. Okay, like realistically, if I'm in this time loop, it's a good thing. This is not a bad thing necessarily. But mentally, it feels so draining. Mentally, it feels so confusing. And at this time, by the way, I was taking no notes. I was not reviewing. I didn't review a single game. Okay, so this is like no reviews at all. If I was reviewing, I could handle this. But I'm not reviewing. So I reset my mental, and it's 100 games. I'm applying everything I've learned, and I'm trying to use all my knowledge to get back to Masters. And then now when I'm Masters, I'm carrying this momentum, and it's 100 games, to help me get to Grandmasters right away. Okay, so I was Grandmasters, 60%. I ended that split. The next split, so I was GM. So now how did I go from GM to Challenger? Well, I just sat down and I had a conversation with myself, because I could maintain GM, and I was complacent. I was like, you know what? I'm a happy guy. I am the top. What is that? Like, it's just top 1,000. I am such a happy camper. What's the point of Challenger? So I sat down with myself, and I'm like, man, like, do I really want Challenger? Do I care? Like, it's important. Like, it doesn't matter, etc., etc. Again, then I talked to my brother about it. I'm like, should I get it? Should I get it? What's going on? I know I can get it. I'm positive I can. I think I can at least. But I'm just like, I'm complacent. So you have a conversation with yourself, have a conversation with whoever's around you, and try and figure out if this is something you actually care and want. Because honestly, Grandmasters is pretty good, man. Masters in itself is pretty good too. So do you care so much to where you're willing to sacrifice friends, sacrifice relationships, sacrifice time, sacrifice maybe grades, sacrifice, gym time, sacrifice health, essentially. Like, all these sacrifices you have to be willing to make. And I'm not saying it's a healthy thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do. But to get to top 300, there's a lot of sacrifices I made. Time after time after time, my friends would be like, hey, you want to hang out? Like, let's go do something. No, I'm grinding right now, bro. I'm like, no, I can't. I gotta get the Challenger. But before I had this conversation with myself, I wasn't willing to sacrifice. So to make it the Challenger, you have to be willing to sacrifice more than you've probably ever done before. Not that it's healthy, but that's what it takes. Alright?
Yo,
Yep.
so I was just gonna ask, do you review your entire game, or do you kind of just skim through it and look for the working points? Because I know you kind of answered that with Aqua's question. But...
Yeah. So working points is the main thing to worry about, but if you have a question, or you're like, damn, like, why was the mid-game so hard? I would look at it, but don't stress it. Essentially, the reason why the working points are so crucial is because you can get very easily overwhelmed by all the things that are happening in the game, and it can get really complicated the next game you play. So just worry about the working points. You can look at the parts of the game, but if I am looking to do review in the mid game, that's because my early game is good. So the way I look at it, there's a flowchart here. It's like, okay, we gotta get the early game down first, right? And then we can move on to the mid game. And then, or you can move on to fighting, or you can move on to like a different part of the early game, which is like invading or ganking or something else, right? But the first core is like getting the early game down and getting it consistent. So that's why I'm always reviewing for the early game. And maybe every now and then I'll look at the mid game because it's relevant and see like, oh, maybe I can use Herald better, or oh, maybe I can play for turrets a little bit better. But I'm not worrying about this until my early game is a very good level.
Okay, so like just focus on one part unless you have a specific question about a different one, I guess.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
And it's always gonna be the early game. Like, it's not one part. It's like it's literally always early game because the early game carries throughout the rest of the game.
Oh, but like, what if you have your early game consistent though?
Yeah, okay, if your early game is consistent, then yeah, then the next step is mid game. So that's good. If you feel confident with the early game, then yes, worry about your mid game. But ultimately, it's about thinking, how can you make your early game even better? It's like, oh, my early game is quote unquote good, but how can I do even better with the early game? Because I saw recently I reviewed an Elise gameplay, and he said he has a really good early game, and man's wasn't doing dragon until like 12 minutes. First dragon was done at 12 minutes, And I look at him, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? This is the worst early game I've ever seen. And he's like 5-0, and he's like, yeah, man, like this early game is great. It's like, no, man, a great early game is you're getting Soul at 22 minutes. You have Herald, you have maybe 3 grubs, maybe 6, and you have Baron at like 23 minutes or 22 minutes. That's a good early game. If that's the type of early game you're talking about, then okay, you can worry about mid game. If not, well, yeah, man, good early game means Soul at 22 minutes every single game.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's not my early game. I just was like trying to understand how you
Yeah.
do it. But
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That works.
So that's
Thank
like
you.
the standard I want you to hold yourself at. That's why I want you to work on your early game. Get Soul 22 minutes, 23 minutes every game, or work on that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Awesome. All right. We have another question here. I'm gonna move you down. I can't speak. Okay, it's late. After 95 minutes, say 10 minutes, perfect. First item and 1 dragons. I find it hard to transition into mid game and often overwhelm and not participate in the game. Okay, so what you're doing wrong, my friend, is so let's establish 9 to 12 minutes. First item, 8 CS per minute. So we've got the check marks done. So what do we do? So this is early. And now we're going to go into the mid game. So what do we do here? And what we want to do in the mid game is objectives, turrets, and the key thing to play into all of this, what is that? It's like this. The key thing to play into all this is working with strong ally. So for example, okay, let's say, I'm going to remove all this because this is our description here. Let's say our top laner, so I'll put top and I'll put mid and I'll put AD. So let's say our top laner is 5-0, our mid laner is 0-3, and our ADC is 2-2. Who's the strongest guy? It better be top laner, right? What's going to happen is this transition. So I'm actually not worried about this. I'm worried about the items. So let's say he has 2 items, 1 item, 1 item, and then 1.5 item. So I'm not worried about the score, but the score helps translate into items. So my top laner is the strongest person on my team. Okay? And I'm like, damn, it's the mid game, I don't know what the fuck to do. What the fuck do I do to win the game? Okay, how do I win? And it's like, okay, you just need to figure out who your strongest teammate on your team is and work around them. So I'm going to play with my top laner. Let's say my top laner wants to break the top tier 2. Let's say my top laner wants to do Herald. Or let's say my top laner is around the general area of Dragon. Then I'm playing for that objective. I'm playing for that part of the game. Okay, and again, you mentioned 1 to 2 dragons at 12 minutes. Why are you only getting 1 to 2 dragons? What happened to both dragons? It should be both dragons, right? What happened to your CS? What happened to all these other parts? You need to keep refining those parts. But to answer the question in the mid game, you want to get objectives and turrets. That's it. And if you're not doing that, then they're doing it, and that means you should be able to trade somewhere. So where are you trading? Are you trading? Are you playing objectives correctly? The mid game is more about objectives now, even more than it was in the early game. So hopefully that answers your question. As a low-level player, should I write down the sequence of actions that a pro player does from what I see on stream and try to implement it in a game to know fundamentals? So write down the sequence of actions that a pro player does. So this is where it can get a little confusing, right? Because you're a low-level player. So you don't really know what a pro player is actually intending to do. And this is why I don't like reviewing other very, very high-level players when I was lower rank. Or that's why I didn't like reviewing like the Koreans or the Chinese people, because I don't actually know what they're thinking. It's like impossible to know what they're actually thinking. So what I want you to do is give yourself rules. Okay, rules. Which would be like, number 1, no 1v1s. Number 2, no invades. Number 3, no weak side play. Done. Follow these rules. That's the fundamentals. That's the baseline you want to do for yourself. So when you're low elo, these rules and follow them like it's. I was gonna say the Bible, but like no, like follow it like it's like your textbook or something. I don't know. You know, it's just important to you. Okay, you gotta follow it like you fucking only know what that means. Okay. So this is happening to you too. So yeah. So transition to mid game is literally just if that strong teammate of yours is fighting somewhere and you're not with them, well, why aren't you with them? Try and figure out what you can do to get there and be with them. That's important as hell. But do you believe anyone has the ability to challenge, or they work hard enough, or do you believe everyone has to bury? Personally, I think everyone can get to at least Grandmasters. I think Challenger is a different level of like work that you need to put on. I honestly like yes. Like my answer is like yes if you work hard enough. But what I mean by hard enough is you have to be literally willing to sacrifice almost everything. Like, sadly for me, I lost a lot of friendships that I could have deepened. I could have had a deeper connection with. A lot of people around me, I lost that. 2 years of people I could talk to, people I could spend time with. 2 years just to get to Challenger. And then more to go pro and more and like more. It's not a lot of people who are willing to do that, who care enough to do that, especially if you have jobs, especially if you have a real life and a degree you want. It's not easy. But if you are, I think it's possible. It's not going to be easy though. I think the more reasonable ask is, can anyone hit Grandmaster? And I think so, yes. What are the players doing to keep 70 CS per minute? Because I think I full clear into gank and I'm still sitting 6 CS per minute. I mean, it's the simple basic I always talk about, right? Like be on your camp on spawn. And that's it. Like they just farm their camps quickly, and after they farm their camps, they make plays. Or they're really efficient. They're really effective with what they do. And if you're still confused, you gotta watch their games too. Like I don't know what's going on in your games directly. And if that's a problem for you, then just worry about getting 78 CS per minute per game. So don't worry about ganking. Don't worry about objectives. Don't worry about any of that. Because you're saying, because I like to think I full clear into gank, and then do all of these. Like, do these other players really do all of that? Like, do they really gank objectives and all these other things that you're thinking about? Like, at all times? Like, ultimately, I think it's a hard one to figure out how to get 78 CS per minute every game while maintaining being active on the map. If you want to try and figure that out, the best thing you can do for yourself is watch these highly rated players or simply work on 78 CS per minute per game, and that's it. Just work on that. And if you get better at that, awesome. Okay. Zemil, I do reviews of 10 matches, and I see that always in 15 to 18 minutes, I leave myself in the game. What do I do to change? Low elo. Okay, so 15 to 18 minutes. What are you playing for? There's a dragon that's coming up. Did you play for Herald? Are you working around your strong teammates? Are you farming efficiently? Because in the mid game, if you're farming effectively, you should have around 9 to 10 CS per minute. Let's say you're not working around your teammates, and you're just farming very fast. You should be able to get to 9 to 10 CS per minute. So from 15 to 18 minutes, when you say delete yourself, are you farming? Are you AFK? Like, what are you doing by delete yourself? Okay, and then the same thing up here. If you're over farming, what does that mean? Like, are you getting 10 CS per minute per game? If that's you, then you're doing a great job. If not, then okay, we gotta rethink what's going on here. Okay, but from 15 to 18 minutes, it's the same thing. Find your strong buddy and take fights around them. That's it. Pick a friend in the game and work with them. Hey, I like you, mid laner. You're very fed. You have items, and hey, you want to fight and split push bot lane, and you want to go 1v5 them? Oh sure, I'll 2v5 with you. It's so funny how like so many fights have just been winnable purely because I fight with my dumb teammate. It's like my dumb teammate like wants to fight everything, and he's pretty stupid, but because he's fed and he's like good at the game in a sense as well, because if you're fed, you have items. That means you're playing a good game. You work with them, like holy shit, the game gets so much easier. So you try to work around them. You hover too much or use your camps and arrive too late and hover. Okay, so yeah, so it's just like be willing in the mid game to experiment. If your early game is good, then experiment in the mid game. Hover your teammate for like 2 minutes and see what they're playing for and see what they can get. Or simply farm and do not leave your camps. So right now, like the reason why I got you to understand these points right here, the perfect phrasing here: 9 to 12 minutes, 75 CS per minute, and first item, and dragons, right? The same thing you want to do in the mid game is just farm, okay? Or just hover for the whole time. Just choose a side. Choose something. Because you're saying you're afraid of losing camp / wasting time. Well, if you're hovering your teammate, that means you're probably breaking a turret. You're probably getting killed. You're trying to do something. And if that means you have to invest a minute or 2 minutes, do it. Learn that. Or you hover / arrive late. Well, that means that you farmed your camps, and that's okay. Neither of these outlooks are bad. Okay, and you think you're beefing your teammate? No, it's fine. So I would recommend if you are finding successful early games and you want to learn as fast as you can, towards the mid game, if you see your ally playing for a turret, for an objective, for something on the map, go follow them around and just play with them. Yep, try to review later on, exactly. Okay. Do you think full clearing before I make any good plays is a general good rule? Yeah. As for every player in the game, it's the rule. And especially for low elo, it's the best. So just farm. And then after you're done, you can gank. You can do it whatever you want. And you need to make sure you're back in your camp the moment it spawns. You think the biggest mental barrier is barrier to overcome for low elo players? Narratives and the awareness of like what their goal with the game is. Okay, so narratives carry a lot of weight because they see this like diamond player say like, oh, Rek'Sai needs a 3-camp gank every game, and then that really ruins people in their elos. And on top of that, lower elo players like sometimes like don't have a vision of like what they really want to do. They're just playing the game and playing the game. It's like give yourself a really set goal and stay true to it and commit to it. Otherwise, obviously, all the thousands of mistakes they're making and tilt and just a general, but specifically for lower elo, it's just narratives carry so much weight. I'm stuck Masters for 2 seasons in a row now, and I feel like I'm after-wise from watching coaching videos. How do you stop being stuck? That's a interesting one. I'm not sure. I mean, you're gonna have to like look at maybe getting actual coaching, or try and like, I don't know, like, are you one-tricking? Are you following all the simple steps? Like, are you watching too many coaching videos? Are you watching too many coaching people? Is like what can also be happening here is you're watching so many different guys, so many different people, and you are getting confused on what's right or wrong. Because so many different people have different opinions. Do you really want Grandmaster? Do you really want Challenger? There's a lot that could be going on here. Yeah, enemy camp. Yeah, exactly. Enemy camps become your camps, and you get farm leads. Exactly. All right, guys. Are there any other questions here? Someone in the Twitch chat is asking, what about if the strong teammate champ falls off late game? Should champ come into play? Yeah, of course. Like most of the champs that you think fall off late game, like, don't actually fall off that hard. Like, they're still relevant. Okay, so like what's like a champ, like a Callista that's strong, you might think is gonna fall off, they're still gonna be very relevant. It's gonna be very important. There's not many champs that actually like truly fall off. So work around them. Strong junglers and comp scene, facilitators, bruisers. Okay, I'll give you guys the last chance to write your question, and then I'll answer them, and then we're gonna call it. So if you guys have any questions, write them now so we can go through, or raise your hand. Raising your hand is easier for me, but I don't mind. Asakrim, do you think you can take some of your latest minions? Absolutely. No questions asked. As long as you respawn, and as long as you ping how close you are to your item as well, that's really important. You can. If I were to split map with enemy jungler, do you recall and go back to the Raptors on respawn, or do you go back to your camp? Yeah, that's like very hard to explain. I would just say don't split map, but a lot of it you can tell by like seeing how the enemy jungler is playing, tracking them, and generally speaking, like just go back to your camp respawns. Don't risk it. If they force it on you, then just again don't risk it and just go back to your take their camps and then go back to your camps, and prioritize yours. Cause I know it can be forced, but don't worry about getting back to their camp. Get back. Don't worry about getting to their Raptor camp. Get back to your own camp. You had a fed balling. Well, after I'll picture it. I'll draw it. I'll draw it out for you. I'm gonna assume you're blue side. Okay, so you start here, whatever. Oh no, you're red side because you play for Raptors. Okay, so you're red side. Okay, so the jungler's up here, you're up here. Okay, fed bot lane. Okay, so imagine a world where after your first sequence, so it's 4:20 in the game. You just go, and then play for dragon, and then play for like bot side. Like either way, whatever you're doing in the bot lane, like the goal is here. It doesn't matter what you do, man. Like honestly, like keep your game stable. It's my best advice. But like as long as you play for that dragon and your bot lane's winning, you're happy. I really watch your 2-hour videos on fundamentals and appreciate your effort. Could you explain the way states I should focus on for ganks? It's a bit difficult to synchronize anything with allies. So Oscar, I'd recommend. There are probably some other wave resource videos out there. I mean, I'm looking to nick one soon. It's a pretty broad question, I'd say. It's not easy to answer. You can wait. You can look at it this way. It's just like. Yeah, no, I honestly can't answer that one. We got some resources here, so. If Bill has a good one and Kiri has a good one, look at theirs. Honestly, wave states is something that's like I really want I don't want to just release a like shitty wave video. I want to get something really in depth. So take a look at one of their videos. Ultimately, don't stress ganks too much though. Worry about farming efficiently. Is there a way to train yourself to do decisions fast, like when I'm spectating or watching replays? Yeah, play a lot of games. You answered it right away. You gotta play. You gotta play to know how to do it quickly. And this is a common thing, when it comes to jungling, or just making fast decisions in general. It comes down to VOD reviews. So VOD reviewing can be a little like confusing because I know the answer in the VOD review. It doesn't matter. Like obviously it doesn't matter unless you can do it in the game. So when you do it in the game, it's all about experience. So when I first was a pro player, first was a challenger player, like my decision making wasn't quick, wasn't fast, it wasn't amazing. But I still made the best decision I could, even if it was slow. As you gain experience, you'll be able to make really, really, really fast decisions. So ultimately, you do need to play a lot more. You need to get the reps in. You need to get the repetition. You can't make good decisions if you don't have the reps in. The same way how you can't be like a bodybuilder if you don't get the reps in. You gotta get that. So reps. But alright. I have no other questions in chat. No other questions in the Discord. If you guys have not seen this the content ideas channel, please make sure to take a look at this and then write your ideas, because it helps me know what you guys want to see for these sort of events and just in general what videos I can be making. Helps me big time. But also, if you guys want to write your accomplishments here and everything, you can feel free to look at this. It's pretty cool too. It's a nice community. Join the Discord. And if you guys are interested in actual coaching and whatnot, my information is perryjg.com. And if it's too pricey, which I understand, that's why I have a Patreon. Patreon has a lot more information on what you can get down there. But yeah, I coach, obviously. And if you guys aren't connected to my socials, I've been posting more on Reddit, Twitter, and yeah. I will see you guys hopefully next week. And good luck with all of your climbs. Good luck with all of your climbs. Alright, I'll see you guys around. Wonderful day. Looking forward to seeing you guys review. Peace, peace. Alright, guys. I'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys have made it this far. Comment. I love VOD reviewing if you've made it this far and you hear this. Okay, on the YouTube video. Alright, I'll see you guys around. Peace, peace.